First, I wanted to get your opinion and ideas about why is it so important to be able to tell fact from fiction in electoral information that we may see online.
Why
So,
is it important?
yep,
Sometimes if people see something, they believe it. So it could be totally false.
sure.
And they're just going to believe it anyway because they saw it on TikTok or Facebook or anything.
Sure. So the response was, sometimes if people see something online, they might not, they might take it as complete gospel truth without knowing otherwise. Why else is it so important in this day and age to be able to tell fact from fiction online?
I believe the majority of young people get their news from social media. They need to know ways to distinguish what is correct and what is disinformation.
Right. And like she said, a lot of young people get their information from social media, so it's good to be able to tell fact from fiction there. Also, a lot of young people get their news from things like SNL skits or Comedy Central, because the comedian will talk about what's in the news and then go off of a riff on it. So believe it or not, that's a source as well. There was one academic study that says that showed that disinformation actually travels more than correct information online, because the salacious nature of some of this stuff, it gets shared more than truthful information. So if we all pitch in to correct information online, I think the better it is. So a couple quick things you can do before getting into the online tools is, if you see something shared online and you're not sure if it's true or not, look at the source, and I'll get into how to evaluate the source of what you're reading. So if you see something that's shared by an unknown website or opinionated website, like whether it's Fox News or something else like that, you need to be very wary, and that could be a clue if it's coming from a source that you've never heard of before, or if it's shared by a Facebook page or online person that you've never heard of before. Try to stick to authoritative news sources. The other thing to take a look at is to see if something is an opinion source or not, because a lot of times opinion pieces are published by CNN or by a Washington Post, and people will share them not knowing it's an opinion piece. So that's the other thing to take a look at. Is it coming from a news bureau, or is it coming from an opinion piece? So how many people have heard of Snopes? I'm just curious. Okay, a lot of people have heard of Snopes, and some people haven't. But Snopes is one of the most really authoritative sources online. And so if you find something that just seems unbelievable, whether it's a Facebook post or a Facebook comment or anywhere online, you can just go to Google, type in the keywords as close as you can, or just copy and paste and just add the word Snopes after it and then search Google. A lot of times that will come up with the appropriate Snopes article that will do a fact check. It will say if it's true, if it's false, or if it's a mixture in true versus false. Also, you can go to Snopes.com itself, and I'll do a demonstration here. Is they have a news and politics section, and based on what topic you're looking for, it has different categories and a nice search feature you can go to. So I'll go ahead and search. It's fairly straightforward to do a Google search. So I'll just go to Snopes.com itself and show you here how this can work. So here I have to at Snopes.com. Let me move this toolbar out of the way. So you can see they've updated their website recently. And so how the homepage works now is they have latest things that are in the news that, for example, Trump awarded Dr. Fauci a presidential commendation. So that's something that's latest and breaking. It's getting some play online. And so you can click on any one of these. So for example, that last one, and you can see this is an article and it's a fact check. You can see this was true. And so what's nice about the Snopes articles is that a lot of times it'll give you the ranking. Let me zoom in real quick here so it's easier to see. Um, it'll give you the ranking up front so you can tell whether it's true or not. So if you're trying to fact check something and you're not sure if it's true, that's your indication. If it's false, you might want to copy and paste this link and post it on the social media feed to get that information out. And then there's lots of information underneath that rating to back that up. So what's another nice thing, though, is if you go to up here to news and politics on Snopes.com, you can see this is a little bit more geared towards news and politics. So all of these are going to be political ones. And then up here, search Snopes.com, you can search for whatever you want. And then this is a little bit better than Google in that this is going to be relegated to the Snopes.com research they've done. So for example, if you're looking for, let's say somebody's spouting off on they're claiming that Biden has an open border policy or something like that. So I haven't tested this out in advance, but let's see if it comes back. So I'm just going to type in the search field up at the top, Biden open border. And here you can see, let's say you wanted to fight some disinformation because one of your, let's say, right-wing, uncle or nephew posted online that Democrats have open borders. So all you have to do is go to Snopes.com, type in that search, and then you can see your choice of fact checks on that specific issue, which is pretty nice. So I'll just click on the first one, and you can see what types too. So you can see how this one is a news article. So if you click on here, do Democrats want open borders? Because that's a news article, it won't give like a fact check right up at the front because it's more of an informational news article, but it's something you can trust. If you go back to the search results here, and this one, you can see this is called a fact check. So I've seen this time and time again, talking about migrants that have been crossing the border. So this, since it was labeled as fact check, it'll tell you here if it's true or false here. And in this one, it's actually true, but that goes into the context. It's sometimes not black and white or as it seems, so you can read more about it here. So that is a little bit about Snopes. So another thing I wanted to show is ChatGPT. So ChatGPT, if you haven't used it yet, is an artificial intelligence agent, and it has been updated about 2 weeks ago with a lot of features that was relegated to the pay version is now available to everybody, which is nice. So up until about 2 weeks ago, maybe 3 weeks ago now, you had to pay a monthly fee to get some additional features, that is image detection and surfing the web. So before ChatGPT could surf the web, there's a new version that came out of ChatGPT called ChatGPT 4.0, the letter O. And that is pretty nice because what it can do, it can analyze the content of images. So I'm going to give a demo here of an example of how it can go into analyzing an infographic, because a lot of times you'll see an infographic shared online and has a lot of claims to it, and you're not sure if it's true or not. ChatGPT makes it super easy to analyze the veracity of an infographic or anything you see. So for how many people is ChatGPT going to be completely new? Who hasn't used GPT? Okay, great. So this is a good topic. So so anybody can create a free account. It's simply at chatgpt.com, and it is artificial intelligence and these type of agents are really going to be revolutionary. they're going to be as AI is going to be as revolutionary as the internet or smartphones. Some experts even say it's going to be as revolutionary as electricity itself. The capabilities are increasing exponentially. So you can type in, you can basically ask ChatGPT any natural language query. So I'll start with just a simple question here. So actually, I'll take an example from somebody else. What's a claim that you may have seen online that you'd like ChatGPT to fact check?
Trump raised 34 million.
Oh, right. So Colleen asked, did Trump's campaign really raise $34 million after his guilty verdict? So let's take a look. So I'm going to just type in simply that. Did Donald Trump's campaign bring in $34 million after his guilty verdict? And it's fairly contextual. So I shouldn't have to specify what guilty verdict it is. It's pretty intelligent. So I'm going to hit enter and see if you see it's searching the web. So what it's doing, it's searching the web, it's searching various sites. And what it's going to do is compile and summarize and synthesize these news sources. So you can see it searched 4 sites, and then it just creates the content on the fly. So the information came back. Indeed, Trump's campaign did raise $34.8 million following his guilty verdict. That's kind of ironic that it was after 34 counts he made $34 million. Wow. So so this, sad to say, it wasn't too surprising to me. I had been talking to a few of my friends for weeks saying, you know, if he's declared guilty, it's going to be a bonanza for his campaign, and which it was. And I also say that if Trump starts lagging in the polls, all he has to do is, you know, beat up a crippled child or something, and he'll just get more results. So you could do any sort of natural language query to ChatGPT. But I also wanted to show what I'm really impressed with is its ability to analyze pictures. So I'm going to go to Google and I'll just I'll just do a Google image search for political, well, maybe I'll try Donald Trump infographic. And then see what comes up. I'm going to click on images up here, so it's related to images. And I'm just going to choose, let's see, I'm trying to find, so here's some facts on Donald Trump. It's a whole bunch of facts. So I'm trying to find a good one. Here's an interesting looking one, the ups and downs of Donald Trump's income. So isn't that interesting? So he lost $12 million in 2017. And so let's see if we can save this one down. So I'm going to right click on it and save image as. And I'll try this called Trump income. So this one might be a little bit challenging because it's in a graph form. So I'm not sure if GPT is going to be, it's going to be more difficult than just analyzing text, but we'll see how it does. So I'm going over to ChatGPT, and you can see over on the left, if you create your own account, it will keep a history of what you've searched for in the past, which is nice. I'm going to click new chat here. And if you click this paperclip down here, you can upload a graphic from your computer. So I'll select the graphic, and I'll just say, is this true? And we'll see. It may not be able to analyze that graphical information, but let's take a look. So it's searching various websites again. And there we go. Yes, the information presented is accurate based on the publicly released tax returns. So, wow, it did a good job, didn't it? 2019, 4.4, 4.8. Is that? Yeah, that's That's impressive. It looks like it got all the numbers correct. And what's also nice is it links in the sources. So if people, you could just copy and paste this information to send it to somebody and paste it on the Facebook post or whatnot. And then you can also include the links if you want to. There's the IRS document. So it's sort of hard to refute that. Another what was that? I missed it.
Credit card, show tax. Yeah.
Yes, it does. Yep.
That's not-
Ah, yeah.
Heard on the news too, that this probation report that they have to do on him, all of this financial data that is kept in is going to become public information.
Oh, interesting.
Including all this divorce settlement.
Oh my goodness. I didn't know that. Uh, And then also I wanted to show an example of how it integrates with the mobile app. So ChatGPT, you can download the mobile app onto your phone. And if I go back to my presentation, make sure if you do download the mobile app that you download the one that has the official ChatGPT logo, which you can see in the bottom right, because there's a lot of apps out there that claim that they're ChatGPT, but they're gonna give you ads and it's not gonna work well. This is the official. If you, it looks, I don't know what it looks like, a couple of donuts or something. Yeah, a Celtic knot. Oh, thank you. Okay, that's what, well, and what does a Celtic knot mean? That I don't know. What's the meaning of that? There we go.
There's all different.
Yeah, okay. Great. Yeah, I could ask ChatGPT what it means. No beginning and no end. That's cool. So make sure that you get the official version. So what's also nice is you can take pictures with your phone. And if there's text in it, you can ask it to analyze the text or write the text. It can be like a, even if it's handwriting, sometimes it can get it. And otherwise you can ask it to describe things. So if you don't mind, I'll go ahead and take a picture of you. Any objection to take a photo? I won't post online. Okay, so this is a demo of how the ChatGPT app can correspond to the desktop version. So I don't have my app hooked into the monitor here, but what I'm going to do is just say, go to my photo roll, and I'm going to say, I'm going to say, describe this photo in detail. And so it's only going to take less than a minute to analyze what's on that photo. And then it is linked into this desktop option where again. Okay, I click refresh. So you can see it says meeting in a bright room, which is interesting because I don't know if it's very bright in this room. But the iPhone corrects for low light situations. So it does look bright. Look at that because the iPhone brought out the light. So you can see, wow, it even counted the people. This photo shows a group of approximately 15 people sitting around tables, appear to be engaged in a meeting or gathering, has large windows allowing natural light. Tables are arranged in a U shape, and there are various items on the tables. And it recognized that there's an American flag, cups, mostly older adults, predominantly women. I don't know, age discrimination there. They appear to be attentive and engaged in the activity. The atmosphere seems casual and comfortable with people dressed in everyday attire. The room has a dropped ceiling with recessed lighting, and the walls are painted a light color, contributing to the bright and open feel of the space. So it's really, really something what it's able to do. Um, um, and I tested a couple things out with it once. I tested, you can have it detect species of plants, and it's accurate. You can just point it at whatever you say, what kind of flower is this? It can tell you. I went out to a Chinese buffet with somebody that knew a lot more about Chinese food than I did, and I took a picture of the plate and it identified, what everything was on the plate. It's really something. Um, and also, so you can do this from a fact check scenario or any other scenario. And then one other thing is you can tell it to generate some images. So I'm going to say draw an image representing, I'll say representing a group of Democratic women, forming a voter registration drive on a college campus. And then I can be more specific too. I can say, show 3 ladies around a table on the sidewalk. So this will take, and you can see it gives you some progress. You can make it as detailed or, as specific or as not specific as you want. And so we'll see. One thing it's not good at is spelling. But other than that, other than its inability to spell things correctly, it's pretty ingenious. So there we go. So there we go. So there's the, I think it captured everything that I asked it to.
Say,
Yeah, I didn't say older woman, right? And so you can see how it misspelled register. So I forget the reason why. For some reason, it's bad at spelling. Yeah. Yeah, it's a weird limitation. And I don't know if it's intentional to prevent deep fakes or if it's unintentional. And no, it just generated it. No, it's brand new. It's like it just understands. So you can make up something really fantastic, like draw a photo of 3 kittens wearing hats going over Niagara Falls in a basket or something like that. It can generate that. It's really something.
draw a picture of Biden tripping up the steps,
Right.
and then.
That's right, they have an elephant.
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh, yeah, there's an elephant instead of a donkey.
Oh, yeah, that's a good point.
Good cat.
Bad AI.
In the So somebody mentioned that they look kind of young, so I'll say older women, and then sometimes it doesn't 100% reflect what you're asking for, but a lot of times it's pretty good. There we go.
There it is. Oh, my gosh.
Ta-da. So yeah, and look, that's pretty realistic. It
Spelled Democratic.
Yeah, so even though I told it to not include I told it to make sure there's no writing in the photo, but it didn't really listen to me. So you can see it's not 100% yet, but it's getting there.
You can find out why it misspells words.
Yeah. Right. Of all the limitations, I'm not sure why. That's a limitation.
So that could be one way of maybe suspecting that something was created by AI and not factual.
Right.
Because if you see misspelled words, then look into it deeper.
Right, that's true. If you see an image that has misspelled words, that could be an indication that it's an AI generated photo and not a realistic one. So here I included this debt relief information, and earlier today I wanted to see if that was true or not. So I'm looking in here. That's interesting. I wonder if I wasn't logged in at the time. Do you see? Oh, here, student debt relief plan. There we go. So I found this online, and even if you misspell something, I wanted to show, yeah, I said infographic accidentally. I didn't catch it in time, but it still understood what I was trying to say. And it went through the claims, and it cited the official source, which is the White House source in this case, and linked those in. So it found that to be true. Okay. Yeah.
Unless they make that change in the tax law.
That's a good point. So one thing I'm going to do for demonstration purposes also is for this next section, is see if I can start a captions. What this will do, it will start saving a transcript along with closed captioning in the Zoom session. And I wanted to show at the end an example of how ChatGPT can summarize the results of a meeting or a presentation. So let me flip back to the slides here. Okay, so next I wanted to share a little thing called the media bias chart, and it's by a company called Adfontes Media, and it's a really neat summary of how you can trust different media sources. Are they left leaning? Are they right leaning? There's two axes in the chart. There's left versus right, and there's reliable and not reliable, and it sort of goes in an arc. So the next slide, you won't be able to see it very well because it's so detailed, but don't worry, I'll show a more zoomed in example. But I wanted to show you in totality first to show what this looks like. So the axes here, so you can see over on the left, and this is, I apologize, it's probably hard to read, is up at the top is if it's thorough fact reported. The y-axis here is the news value and reliability. So the higher on the chart, the more reliable it is. And down below, the less reliable the information is. So for example, down here, see, I'll have to, on my screen, I can barely see it. But up here you can see, and this goes from left to right. So this is the most extreme, hyper-partisan left, strong left, skews left, middle, skews right, strong right, hyper-partisan right, or most extreme. Yes. Oh my goodness. How about that? That's amazing.
If you support that we get them, yeah.
She sent this to us, Brennis.
Wow, that's great.
We subscribe to them.
Yeah.
Add Fontes Media.
Wow. Perfect.
That's a great area.
It's fascinating.
Mm-hmm. So that's great. It's a postage. So Faye will send that around. And here's the interactive version of that chart. So if you go to Add Fontes Media, and if you don't remember that at any point, just Google media bias chart, and it's continually updated here. Trying to get this clickable. Right.
Not yet.
Okay, so hopefully, there we go. Okay, so here is the bias chart. You can subscribe here to their newsletter if you want. I'm going to click close here, and then you can go to, they have a static version. So you can, what I did to get it into the PowerPoint slides is you can join for free at $0 a month and just download it as a large image that you can then incorporate. But so that's the static version, but there's an interactive version here too. And to make it a little bit less cluttered, on the left-hand side, you can check, for example, only TV and video, and this will take off a lot. So here, that makes it a little bit easier to understand what's going on. Let me zoom in a little bit here. So, oh, I guess the zoom doesn't work. So, here you can see like the CBS Evening News out of all of them seems to be the most reliable. It's just interesting that PBS, yeah, that surprises me a little bit. That you would think that PBS would be the most nonpartisan. So you can see there's Rachel Maddow here, a little bit less reliable. This is under the selective or incomplete story or unfair persuasion. They're saying it's Chris Hayes. And then on the right-hand side, you can see Fox and Friends.
It's up top and above.
Okay.
And it's
And
actually
NBC?
above the BBC and NPR.
Where is, they have NBC up there?
Let's see.
I didn't see it. I couldn't find the New York Times.
Let's see, maybe because I have the filter on here at the left. I have TV and video. Let me uncheck that. Let me check website and articles. Now this gets really cluttered. But if you scroll in the interactive version, it's a little tough because I don't have a mouse here. And you can see there's TMZ.
No, your reporter's on the black side.
Yeah. Here, I'll fix that real quick. There we go. Yeah, does anyone see MSNBC?
Here it is, on the lower left, just up a little far down.
Oh yeah, look at that. Okay. So it's fairly biased. Okay.
Regular NBC, yeah. Yes.
Yeah. Oh, there's NBC here, looks like.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
there's the peacock.
It's right there.
Yes.
Yeah. There's Wall Street Journal. We knew they were right. And there's Fox News all the way over here.
And these get updated on.
We've had that.
Yep.
They keep adding sources.
There's ABC.
I see it, yeah. See it, and I see
I still don't see anything in the New York Times.
the New York Times.
Who's handling?
Eric, I think it might be on the subscriber, like, you can.
Uh-huh.
Read the thing like, Pittsburgh Post Gazette.
Yeah,
And it'll pop it up.
right. And because I don't have the
Done that with a
paper.
lot of people in the state.
Oh, that's a good point. So as Dawn said, if you pay for this, if you subscribe, you can do, because I don't subscribe, but if you can type it in over here.
Yeah, I think that's what the subscription.
Yep. So at least it has kept KDK's in there. Let's see, WPXI is in there.
Yeah.
Probably so, yeah. There's Fox News over here.
If you get on this at home on your home computer, it's like a rabbit hole. You get
Oh, I
lost.
Yeah.
And it is very, very interesting.
Yeah. Okay. So that was a little bit about the media bias chart. So one thing to keep in mind with all these fact checkers is the importance of storytelling, because a lot of times people will make their decisions based on emotions and a personal story rather than facts. So you can throw an encyclopedia book worth of facts, but if you can frame the message into something personal, that, something that happened to you or something that happened to your parents or your kids, and frame the message that way, is a good way to do it. You can put the facts in there, but then reinforce it with a personal story is often a way to have that hit home. So how can you help out the information, the disinformation thing is, first, if you have time, before you share something on social media yourself, you can double check with Snopes and other resources to see if it's actually true. So you're not accidentally sharing misinformation or disinformation yourself, because it's no good if you're sharing disinformation that appears to make the progressives, the Democrats look good, only for somebody to call you out for being, untruthful. You can fact check other people, and if it's somebody that's like sort of on our side, the Democratic side, that's posting information, and you find that it's wrong, you can private message them. You don't have to call them out in public, but you could private message them and say, "Hey, that's not correct. Do you think you could remove that?" Or you can post a correction if you can. You can also, if it's somebody on the right that's posting disinformation, you can post on their posts with the correct and true information, with a link to the Snopes article, link to if you use ChatGPT, link to the source, copy and paste the GPT summary, and then link to the original source. And then finally, be smart about when you want to engage and when you don't. Sometimes it's not the most, not the best use of your time, because it's, you're not going to change their minds. They're only going to, make them mad, and it's not useful. So being smart about that is good. Yeah, unfriend. Any questions or thoughts?
Yes, Eric. There's so much news about, Russian and Chinese, persuaders on social media. And I don't think I know how to recognize it. So what are some good tips?
Right. So the question was, there's a lot of Russian and Chinese influencers online that are just propaganda, and they're not true at all. What's the best way to find out if they are true, good sources or not? And I would say if you Google the source, or even ask ChatGPT the source to see if they're legitimate, is one way to do it. So especially if you find a social media platform that you can click on to the original source. Sometimes you can see if it's clickable. You can see the other things they're posting to sort of evaluate on your own to see if it's truthful or not. If there's a high level of bots and spam associated with the account, if you go to the original account and find that the comments are a lot of spam, that's a red flag that it could be not very truthful as well. Yeah, good question.
I don't have a question, but I have a comment.
Sure.
I read that there are bills pending in both chambers of the Pennsylvania House regarding AI generated political ads. And if they have done that, if the campaign has done that, if these bills pass, they will be fined. And the fines start, like if it's a presidential ad, it could be like, I don't know, 500,000. I'm just pulling that figure out of the air.
Mhm.
And as if it's a state office, it's still pretty high, it even comes down to local level, but the fines get less and less, but,
Sure.
so that's something that, maybe we should, let our legislators know that, and it has both, Republican and Democratic sponsors for the bills, so, I don't know, how effectively they'll monitor it, but
Right.
yeah.
And that's a good point. I think the legislation is lagging behind the technology, and so AI is going to get more and more pervasive, and the deep fakes are going to be indistinguishable from the real thing. It's going to be a real challenge moving forward. And there's been instances where software can now just record your voice and then do a text to speech, and it will sound just like you, or just sound like the famous person. That's yeah, it is scary, because you can no longer authenticate based on voice or based on like a video, because it's been so realistic.
One of the difficulties in trying to legislate AI, because we don't really have enough understanding of it to see what it can do, is that ads in the past, before AI, used stock photography that you could
Hmm.
those now qualify as being manipulative. since they're not real photographs of real group of people. You know, a lot of graphic designers used to buy their photographs from iStock, rather than go out and take them themselves. The other thing I wanted to raise was a lot of misinformation comes from lobbying groups and PR agencies.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not exactly false. You know, there's a spin on it to put it in a positive light. When I was working at the Democratic booth at the fair, this man came up and he said he was a Democrat, but, you know, he was having second thoughts because Biden was going to change the way banks work and our money wouldn't be worth anything. And I looked at him and I said, oh, where did you hear that or see that? And he said, on the internet. Of course, I tried not to roll my eyes. And I said, well, I haven't heard that. And my husband was sitting next to me and he's a banker. And I said, friend, do you know anything about this?" And what it was misinformation that I suspect was put out by the bankers lobby. Because of those banks that had gone under, we had to bail out. What Biden wants to do is that large banks have to have a certain percentage of liquidity,
Mm-hmm.
which means they don't have as much money to throw around and invest crazily.
Sure.
So that in case people didn't want their money, they could get it. So I said to Fred, so that's a good thing, right? And he goes, yes, that's a good thing. But you can see this guy got misinformation,
Right.
partially true. It was on the internet, so it had to be true.
Right.
Yeah.
Am I
That's another double checking or.
right?
Quality check, PR agencies or lobbying groups. Is more difficult.
That's a real good point.
Oh. His eyebrows would tell us that.
And here's the last piece of demo I wanted to show. So since I enabled the closed captioning on Zoom, what that's enabled me to do, I'm going to click stop share, and that should give me my controls back from Zoom. So switching back, I can, what I can do is if it's closed captioning, you can click this up arrow here and you can see what I'm looking for is a transcript. Often it will give me an option to bring back the entire transcript of the meeting. Caption settings. Maybe it's not going to be a good example here. Okay, well, I don't see the caption, the transcript settings here, but a lot of times I will see it will record this to like a transcript file,